Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy winter, happy holidays, happy Yule, happy solstice, happy fucking nothing. Jesus Christ. Um, well, I'm really sitting with this duality concept. You know, the sort of the extremes on the spectrum. So, you know, I suppose it's like this concept of waiting, um, and not sort of being in control or taking control. I don't even think it's about taking control, but anyway, I think what's bothering me the most is the lack of privacy in my life, and it's been that way for so long, which is really strange because you would assume that a lack of privacy would mean that one was not feeling isolated, because the concept of isolation means you're alone, but not having privacy um, means that you're being disturbed in some way. So it's like there are people, it's like I've got the shitty end of both fucking sticks. And that's not to be ungrateful, that's not to be in acknowledgement of that which I do have, is just an observation of, you know, a psycho emotional state of being, which is frustrated that I can't masturbate because I don't feel comfortable enough or safe enough or private enough to be intimate with my own body in that way. But similarly, the disturbance that prevents those sorts of things isn't necessarily the company of people that I want around me. And it's not saying that I don't want them around me, it's just, it's like this weird fucked up limbo between having a family and not having a family. It's just, it's really strange. Um, and it's something that I don't feel able to adapt to. I don't feel like it's something that I can shapeshift to accommodate. So it's quite an interesting reflection for me to find myself in. It's I can't help but feel it's really fucking weird. I find it massively unnatural, and I find it antagonistic. I find it testing. Um, and I find it sort of like not demoralizing. That's not the right word. Um, disempowering. It's a very. I find it. You know when people say, "Oh, I'm finding it really challenging." When people say things like that, and then it's like, you know, they couldn't find the right nail color or whatever in the store. I actually find this situation to be challenging to me. Like it's challenging me head on. Like, come on then. Like it's almost a threat. Like it's the strangest dynamic. I mean, all it is a room. You know, at the end of the day, it's just a room. Um, so it's quite interesting to derive, um, to extrapolate such a story from it. But you know, moving through, flowing on, and blah blah blah, all that crap. Um, it's really pushing me to question if what I believed I wanted is actually what I want, or whether this is just a temporary state of being, and actually I'll be, you know, feeling quite comfortable with what it is I believe I want and what it is I believe I've wanted for a long time, and to arrive at a place of complete acceptance that we can want many different things, even contradictory things in life, simultaneously. Um, and it's quite difficult to maintain a sense of hope and ambition alongside a reality that looks very different to what it is you tell yourself you want. I wrote about this back in 2015 actually, which is, if I've never had what it is I believe I want before, how can I know that it truly is what I want? Surely the wanting comes after the getting. So I've got this thing, And if I really want it, I'll work to maintain it or not lose it or not sabotage it. And if I don't really want it, then I can make changes. So it turns out I don't want to live in a self-contained temporary flat. I think it's too difficult to pretend to live like a normal person when it's so far from normality. I'd rather have the realism of living in a room and being deprived physically of things that is in conjunction with the reality of the situation at large, which is homelessness, housing issues. I find it easier when my external reality is more similar to my internal experience. When it's a juxtaposed situation, it creates dissonance that I don't enjoy. So, I don't have a family. I don't have a spouse. I don't have a job. I'm not in full time education. The reality of the situation is I am unemployed. I'm on a limited income, and I don't have a secure living situation or a place that I can call home and really feel and believe the meaning behind the word. It's a really dire place to be. But also I derive a very powerful sense of freedom from this situation. A freedom that stems from a very tangible and real sense of the fact that my future can be anything. It's not fixed. It's not. One sec. I'm just gonna put some lipstick on because my lips look so pale on camera. Okay. One sec. This is. Oh no, I don't want sand. Where's Vineyard, please? One sec. I need to place you somewhere. Here we are. The bed was made until I got out of it. It's weird because I feel like, I don't feel like anything. I just want to know where I've put my blooming. Where have I gone and put it? Come on now. Where is it? Just want my fucking lipstick. I don't think that's the task. Where is it right now? Oh, I know it's with my. No, it's not. It's with the mascara. It's with the mascara somewhere. Yeah, the mascara that didn't even feel like it was new. Okay, well, let's just move that out of the way because I really want to know where the beauty items are, because I'm starting to feel a little bit lacking. No, but I have found some chocolate, so we'll just take those for a second. Yeah, so I don't know where. I wonder if I can put it in here. One sec. Oh, that's so annoying. I've only got sand. I don't want sand though. What do you mean you don't want sand? I don't want sand. I want Vineyard. I don't know where my makeup is, and it's like very disturbing for me. Could it be in here? It could be, but it's not. A lot of other shows in here though. Serious amount of shows. Shocking, really, isn't it? Too much shows. Well. It's not in here. No, it's not. It's got to be somewhere. I mean, What's going on here? Just so much crap. It's almost painful. It's almost. Okay, well, I need to like condense where stuff is because it's starting to like grate on me and not in a good way either. I mean, I've sorted through a lot of stuff, which is good. Like, things that I know I'm going to have to let go of because I need to be... Do you know, it's... What saddens me is I don't want to flee. I don't want to leave. I don't want to go. I don't want to run away. I don't want to let go of my belongings that I've acquired over an extended period of time because they mean something to me and I respect that within myself and I think it's a lovely thing, but simultaneously I'm not happy and I don't feel that holding on to those things and staying in this situation, even though it's not as bad as it could be, is the answer. I feel like it's really important that we have our own boundaries and that we know when we've reached a point within ourselves that means we no longer want to continue doing the same thing. Simultaneously, I'm aware that, you know, being impulsive or being spontaneous or being driven solely by emotion isn't necessarily always the answer. So I'm having to draw upon, you know, something very deep within myself to enable me to maintain a level of comfortability within a situation and a dynamic that is counterintuitive. It's strange. It's like we revile and condemn women and men, I suppose, who stay in toxic relationships and stay in abusive dynamics, but when there's nowhere else to fucking go and there's absolutely no idea of what to do and the thought of starting all over again is soul destroying, it's very difficult not to wait until something pushes you to leave. And quite often I find myself drawn into self-sabotaging and self-destructive dynamics to create an environment or a situation or a circumstance which gives the illusion or presents the illusion of external factors contributing to my moving on, whereas what I actually need to admit to myself before it reaches that point is I don't want to be here, I'm not happy here, and I want to leave. So it's not what I want. I don't believe that it's an access route in actuality toward that which I actively want. And rather than stay here, like I'm aware that if I leave, I'm not going to get what I want. But I'm also aware that staying isn't getting me what I want. Now I can carry on staying and hoping and believing and taking action in alignment with what I'm told is an access route towards what it is I want, or I can accept that I need to leave and it's seemingly going to take me further away from what it is that I want, which is my own accommodation, my own flat, or my own like home, a place that I can call home where I, you know, can cook and eat. That is what I have here, but it's not who I am here. It's not an environment that is conducive because of how I feel. So how I feel is holding me back. How I feel is stopping me. Like, there's a kitchen next door. I could be cooking up my own lasagna. I could be cooking up lots of different things, and I could make it at home. I could go into the bathroom upstairs and I could have a hot shower and feel better about myself. But I don't want to do those things. I don't want to get used to feeling good here, because it's not where I want to stay. It's not what I want to do, and it's not who I want to be. So I can acknowledge that there are facilities here exactly as what my own flat would be, but I also know for a fact, if I began to cook in that kitchen, other people would want to come in. I would stab them, I would kill them, I would murder them, because I'm feeling murderous, and I don't feel like putting myself in that situation to prove something. Like, oh, well, you say you want your own flat because you want a kitchen. Well, there's a kitchen next door. How about you make use of that before you start asking for your own? Well, it's like, no. Like, it's just like, no, I don't need to endure a dynamic that I already know does not work for me. Like, it doesn't. And living on this periphery for me is like sadistic and unhealthy, because it's like a taste, it's like an essence, it's like the illusion of what I want, because it's a fixed building. So we assume that if people are living in a fixed building, then that's a home or that's homely. It's not. I actually feel like it's more damaging to live in this fake kind of like dynamic of, well, if you carry on doing this, we might give you your own home. If you carry on doing this, we might give you your own home. It's the same bullshit that every institution in society has, which is, how long can we string you along before you wake up and fuck off and do your own thing? So, like, that's where I'm at with this stage. Like, I'm not in the right mindset. I'm not in the right mode within myself to endure living here. So I'm going to give myself some time to adapt and to grieve the loss of who I fundamentally am and who I fundamentally want to be. Because I have to let go of that part of myself, because I can't carry it round, because it makes me not a very nice person to be around. It makes me aggressive. It makes me defensive. It makes me constantly feel threatened. It makes me feel ungrateful. And I'm going to have to let go of the part of me that wants to be a mum and wants to be a caretaker in a home. Have to let that part of me go. I have to let it go, because it's not real. It's not real. This isn't a happy home. This isn't a kitchen that I can cook in. This isn't a place where I can be those things. I have to let it go. It's unrealistic and painful and torturous. It's profoundly torturous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adapt to my environment, which is get rid of everything that I own and live out of a bag, because that way my survival will be in alignment with the skills that are at the forefront of my experience, rather than trying to change everything that's around me, and that it's just too painful to do. I don't have the energy to carry that much space. I don't have it. So that mental illusion, that delusion. So okay, let's put it this way. Delusion is subjective. So if I live a certain way inside a family home, let's say a 3-bed semi-detached house, and you know, it's all mine, and I can decorate it, and I can cook in it, and I can bathe in it, and I can study in it, I can work from home, all of these different things, that's great. But to try and live that life
when that isn't the reality of your surroundings, is delusional. It's a form of delusion. To try and be and cling and hold on to a way of being and a mentality isn't a show of strength, isn't defiance, it's stupidity. Like, I don't care if people would perceive this dynamic as me giving up or losing hope or being broken by the system, because I know what an alternative could be. I know how much worse it could be. So if I have to sacrifice more to stay sane, even if that level of sanity isn't in alignment with who I fundamentally am, then I will do it, because I need to be alive in order to get back to who I actually am, and I can't do it if I'm dead. So if I'm putting myself in this situation and enduring and exposing myself to a really depressive experience because I feel I can't be who I am here, then maybe I need to change who I am so I can be here. And then if that doesn't work, I fuck off. But it's sad to me. Like, I find it really sad. But I'm also beyond a point of caring in that way. Like, I'm going to be really, really careful with what I throw away and how I get rid of it and who I give it to and stuff like that. But I can't live as though I'm a normal person in this situation, because it's not a normal situation to be in. This is not the norm. This is not okay. This isn't natural. This isn't safe. This isn't good for mental health. This is a horrible, horrible place and a horrible, horrible situation that anybody from any walk of life, no matter what experience they've been through, this is not good enough. It's just not. Full stop. I can't deny my standards, and that is after having been in worse situations than this. I'm not willing to compromise on my long-term goals for a short-term reality. I don't want to convince myself or pretend that I can live a certain way here when this is not the kind of place where that kind of life gets lived. I think it's a dangerous mind space to be in. And I mean that figuratively and literally, because I don't want to become a danger to myself. I don't want to become a danger to other people. And when I say that, I don't mean necessarily physically in a threatening sense. I mean dangerous for their mental health, dangerous for their happiness or their contentedness, because I don't want to be an energy that brings other people down. I don't want to be an energy that isn't very nice to be around. I don't want to be cruel. I don't want to be cold. I don't want to be what this situation that I'm creating for myself is making me be, because I'm starting to feel like I'm a really demanding person because I expect better for myself, and I don't like that naturally who I am as a person is being distorted by this circumstance and by this situation, where I'm meant to feel like I'm ungrateful in some way. I'm not ungrateful. I'm one of the most grateful people I'll ever experience in my entire life. And, you know, I'm not demanding and I'm not a diva. And I think when you take something away from someone and you put them in a situation that isn't their natural habitat, it's alien to them, it's not comfortable, and you then revile and condemn them for remembering or for desiring that which they've previously had, or a different standard of living, that's psychological warfare. Like, for me to be perceived as a demanding person because I'm wanting this and that and this and that is a horrible way of showing compassion. Like, I've met people who were once extremely wealthy or who were extremely wealthy, and I've met people at the other end of the spectrum, and I've met people in the middle, and fundamentally they're people, and what their natural life experience or what their norm is for them is what their norm is for them. Like, I can't dictate that. I can only speak in this instance. For me, this isn't my norm. It's not what I want. I might have experienced similar things in the past. And it's ironic because what brought me here is wanting to change, but all it's done is put me back into a situation that I didn't want to be in, because I went through a worse situation and came back to this one. I don't feel any closer to any of my goals or anything. I don't feel feel glad to be away from horrific situations, but I don't want to constantly be looking over my shoulder into the past and measuring where I'm at based on where I've been as opposed to where I want to be. Like, I would like there to be a nice harmony between push factors and pull factors. I don't think of myself as ungrateful for wanting other things, and I don't want to be obsessed with forcing myself to find gratitude and peace in a situation where it's shit, and I want to just call a spade and say, this is shit. It's so painfully shit. And to explain that to someone who doesn't live it or has a different understanding of this dynamic, even if they're in a similar situation, is so painful. It's so isolating. It's so lonely. I need to speak to people who would also believe this to be an absolute crock of shit. I need to be around people who would look at this and be like, that's crap. I need that part of who I am to be met just as much as I need the part of me that thinks, oh, this room's lovely. Oh, look how high the ceilings are. Oh, I wonder if I should put my rug over there. Oh, this is a nice thick pile carpet. Oh, I've got my own sink. Oh, aren't I lucky? Because both aspects of me exist. Both aspects of me exist. I genuinely believed for a long time that if I lived as though I was in a home, a house, if I tried to recreate that, then I would bring it to me. That it would happen, that it would become true. But it doesn't. It doesn't come true. This is worse than just being on the road. This is worse. And so everything has to go before I go. I think it's easier for me to let things go whilst I'm still here than have one huge moment where I have to leave everything behind. I can't do that anymore. So I have to give everything away, donate stuff, and accept, for whatever reason, that I'm just not meant to be in a fucking real home. I'm just not. And I have to really accept it. I have to come to terms with it. I have to come to terms with it. It's not meant for me. It isn't happening. And it hasn't happened for the past 10 years. Now, I don't know about you, but I think I'm going to move on from that whole don't give up concept. I think I'm going to move a little bit closer towards know when to walk away. And doors will open for you that are meant to open. I don't know what belief system to apply to this dynamic. I don't know. It's not worse than being at my mother's house though, because that is that's a death wish. It's a death wish. And I feel like a lot of the difficulties I'm having around homes and housing and living is because my blueprint stems from her. So what I'm constantly recreating, which is derived from my modelling, is always going to be a hellhole. It's always going to be more than I can bear, because that's the only association I personally have with a home. You know, and it's really sad. It's really painful, because I'm realising that some of our hopes and dreams in life are just there to be hopes and dreams. They're just there. They serve a purpose simply by existing in our hearts and in our minds, but they don't have to come true. And that's okay. And I know the part of me that is waiting to leave is going to be so happy when that day comes. Like, I know it's going to be relief. I'm going to feel empowered. I'm going to feel in control. It's just really sad. Because I allowed so much of me to really believe that this would be the end of that cycle. I really believed it. It's painful to believe. It's painful to have hope. So, you know, and I did all of the things that I was meant to do whilst living that home life story, which is apply for jobs, better myself, get qualifications, take action outside, and rest, and do all those things. And I did all those things, and I'm glad that I did them. But apparently life has other ideas for me, you know, and sometimes the more we push against what is, the more difficult we make it for ourselves. I don't need to know where I'm gonna go. Maybe I should. Maybe I should really think about that. I'll just have to use sand, but I really want to use vineyard. It's so much nicer. I do feel like it's been a massive cleansing, like a massive ridding of conditioning that was so profoundly deep. I really believed it to be what I wanted for myself when it really probably possibly wasn't. But I also acknowledge that we can want opposing things for ourselves. I don't know. If I'd have got it in this time, the home, the space that's mine, the tenancy agreement, the bills, I would have really dedicated myself to it, and I would have really accepted it and been really joyous and given it 100%. And maybe enrolled in college and done a hair and beauty course. I don't know. But, you know, it's not where I'm at. God, I hate that phlegm that sticks to the lining of your throat. Like, it's so grim. Yeah, no, it's just like a piss take now. Like, it's been a piss take for the past 6 to 8 months, but I'm reaching new levels of piss takery, which is great because I know there's going to be more levels of piss takery, which I will endure. But it's just weird. Like, it's just so weird. it's so weird that what gives me joy temporarily, what gives me peace, is watching people in their own homes because I don't have one. Like, I follow people on social media with these perfect lives. Certainly that which they present, I'm under no illusions. I know beautiful, well put together people can also have a shit time. One sec, I'm just going to make a coffee and then I'll be back. I wonder where that fucking lipstick is. I really like that one. That was my favourite fucking colour. Don't worry about it. So, yeah, I feel, I don't know if I do feel out of my depth. I don't think it's that I feel out of my depth, and I don't think it's a control freak thing. I think it's that fine balance between being accountable, responsible, realistic, and disgracefully adult when it comes to life and circumstances and situations, and just being real with yourself, and like just like, you know, there are lots of different ways to live life, and I am learning that in ridding myself of forcing myself to believe at least that the way I want to live is X, Y, or Z, I need to face the reality of why that isn't happening for me. And maybe it's because it's not actually what I want. You know, as much as I want to dote and love and procreate and, you know, get married and fall in love and be romantic and have a really nice sexy job where I get to dress really well, like, I don't know, librarian or archivist or whatever, but like, I can't live in a fantasy anymore, even though
I feel like I've been deactivated. It's the weirdest thing, but I do feel like I've been deactivated, medically deactivated. Because I have conditions now that I never had before, like my heart, my breathing, my chest. And I know it's to do with different levels and heights and stuff. Like, I can't. And then I'm on this medication that I have to take every day. And I just basically don't believe in any of it, but do it anyway. Because it's easier, and I just generally can't be arsed taking on the whole world. So I'm also realising this isn't an average lifetime. This isn't an average. Why do they do that? Don't ever hook the last one on. Like, it's not like it's gonna fling across when I close the curtain, because there's so much friction that would never happen. I thought it would be easy to create a life for myself where I've got my own little bubble, my own little nest, and my own home, and my own lover or partner. My own. And that I could do it that way, but I don't like staying in the same place for a long period of time, because I move on internally, like I grow out of that space. Like, who I was when I arrived in it isn't who I am now, and I don't particularly want to stay. I want to then move on to the next place that is more in alignment with who I am now. And I think that's a lot to do with heavy karma. I mean, my South Node is in Cancer, which is one of the densest karmic South Nodes that you can have, because it's based around the emotions, it's based around the family, it's based around home. And you know, there's a lot of heavy karma to be transmuted from my childhood and from my adolescence, and the influences that those two had, you know, sort of bleed into my 20s basically, and my 30s. So it's just something that I'm going to have to acknowledge. I've been defiant about it. I've dug my heels in. It doesn't make anything change. Doesn't get me anywhere faster. I think I've not necessarily been surrounded by the best people for me before coming here. And it's made it really hard, because a lot of the advice that is like floating around these days is to be kind and to love people and all that stuff. And it's like, not everybody has other people's best interests at heart. Not everybody wants the best for other people. And not everybody's interested in maintaining a friendship with someone who isn't in their immediate vicinity. And I'm here alone, so based on who I was in the past, the friendships that were created in the past don't serve who I am today. So it's very difficult to try and maintain friendships from a really long time ago. And incorporate them into a dynamic that they no longer fit. It triggers me, and it causes me to act in a way that is not very well considered. For example, I had a message from an ex of mine like last week, and he always gets in touch every now and again,
And in the past, I would try and rise above it and be this like unconditionally loving, conscious being that would listen or whatever. And now I'm just like, no. So I just deleted that message. And then I got in touch with another friend of mine that I've got some amazing life experience with. And, you know, the first question she asked me is, where are you? Like, whereabouts are you? And I've not told her that I've left Bristol, because I haven't left Bristol since I arrived. And that question gets under my skin so fucking much. I can't bear it. I can't stand that question of, so where are you now? Where in the world are you? So what are you doing? Like, it doesn't resonate with me in a healthy way. Like, it's not... It aggravates me more than I have the ability to explain at this point. Like, it's so old. It's like, what the fuck are you on about? We're not, like, 10 anymore. Like, we're not the same people, you know? And it makes me really hate that I can't turn around and go, well, I've got my own fucking house, you cheeky cunt, and I've lived in it for 3 fucking years. I'm not going anywhere. I can't say that. Can't say that to those people, because they don't know my fights, they don't know my struggles, they don't know how hard it is for me to achieve the things that I tell myself I want, which is my own place. And it's antagonistic, and I have to understand that it undermines me. I don't have to expose myself to those kinds of people. And this one friend in particular that I'd spoken to made a point of asking me where I was, which seems to be a topic of conversation that she asks every time I get in touch with her. And it's like, it's getting old. Like, it's so old. I can't keep exposing myself to it. It's like toxic. It's just vile. And it makes me feel miserable. It makes me not like who I am. You know, like, so where are you now? Like, oh, you're still in this place, you're still in that place. And it's like, stop living vicariously through me, through a version of who I used to be 10 years ago. Like, just because you're still in the same fucking place and I've actually managed to get away, like, don't fucking put that shit on me. Pisses me off. You know, and then I have to rise above it and be the better person, and it gives me work that I don't fucking need. Don't fucking need that fucking work. Just because you're still at home with your mum in the same fucking town that you grew up in. Like, stop pissing me off. And it's like some testament to my ethics that I'm not bogged down in some shitty life that I fucking hate. Working a job that I fucking hate, with a mortgage that I fucking hate. Like, I can't. Hello? Alright, leave it outside. Thanks, love. So it's reaching a point for me now where I can't. It's stopping me from becoming what I've set out to be. It's not okay. Furthermore, I don't think there's anything wrong with staying in the same town that you grew up in. I don't think there's anything wrong with being happy in a house with a mortgage and a family. I think they're wonderful things, and that is what I have been telling myself I wanted. And if that opportunity showed itself to me, I would take it. But it hasn't. And it doesn't matter how hard I work to create it, doesn't matter how hard I strive to build that for myself, it doesn't happen. So I've been on both sides of that. Well, you can't just expect the home to turn up on your fucking lap if you're not going to work for it. Well, I do work for it, and have worked for it for a very long fucking time, and it still hasn't shown itself to me. So, where do you draw the line? At what point do you draw the line and say, I'm pouring inordinate amounts of energy into something that isn't coming into fruition? Does that make me stupid, or does that make me devoted and dedicated? I don't want to have to, every time I'm faced with that dilemma, to have to rise above it and shift into the 5D consciousness and justify my life experience as things that aren't happening to me but are happening for me, and unconditional love on the planet and blah blah blah. I don't want to have to force myself into that state of being to be able to cope with what my reality is. I want my reality to be what I can cope with in real time, and it's not that. So I'm doing something wrong. Like, I'm doing something wrong. And I know the spiritual and mystic concept of that is, no, you're not. You're never not where you're supposed to be. Yes, you fucking are. Sometimes we are very much where we are not supposed to be. And it feels like a million fucking miles away from what we want. And simultaneously, there might be options that pop along that we have to take a step away from, even though it might take us closer to what we want, because in that moment, we have to take space and time for ourselves, because we're so fucked up, we're so fucking worn out from dealing with the shit that is not what we want, that we don't have the energy to invest in what we do or to take us closer. But societally, if we're deemed selfish or uncaring in some way, or narcissistic or toxic, it's like, it means we take time for ourselves. It means we say no to people. It means we don't self-sacrifice in order to put someone else's happiness above our own. If I'm not in a place to do that, it's proportionate. So obviously what I can do and what I can give is relative to where I'm at. In the past, I've had careers that have allowed me to financially relieve other people in my life, and to financially relieve myself, and to buy presents and to buy gifts and to do things for people and for myself. I'm not in that same position now, so I can't maintain that previous way of living when my current lifestyle doesn't permit me to do that. And I simultaneously can be aware that that is a mixture of my own personal choices and external circumstances that are outside of my control. It's like, oh, you need to glow up, you need to be the empress, you need to be your best self. This is my best self. This is my best self right now. We can't ever not be it. Like, I'm alive for a start, and that's like fucking massive achievement. It's huge. I've not taken my own life, and I've not been led to take my own life or pressured to take my own life by abusive people. I've risen above that, and also I've not been killed, so I think I'm doing alright. I also don't want that to be consistently the measure and the justification behind the existence that I have in real time. Oh, well, it could be worse, it could be dead. Oh, well, it could be worse, there's starving children in Africa. Oh, well, it could be worse, it could be on the streets. No, that's not okay. That is not okay as a form of justification when you're not at your lowest. That is the kind of things that I draw upon when I'm at my very lowest. When I'm at a very lowest, I think it could be worse, it could be this, it could be that. When I'm not at my very worst, when I actually have standards for myself, when I actually become consciously aware with clarity what my worth is, that isn't good enough. It's just not. But then that's where the labels come in. She's demanding, she's a diva, she's disrespectful, she can't take authority, all of these things. It's like, I am my own authority. I chose to remain in society when I had options to leave it. I wanted to be, I believe in the concept and the theory of a developed, harmonious society. I know it to be a fundamental truth. And it takes work to maintain that. It takes work. It requires time, energy, and focus. It requires internal conversation. It requires faith. And all of those things involve resource. So the resources behind that is my energy. Energy on a physiological level that is derived from what I consume and what I give out, the in and the out and the in between. And it's a really weird dynamic to find myself with facilities. Like, there's a kitchen here, but there's no heart, there's no soul, there's no welcome. And I've been in those situations before where I've led the introduction of heart and soul and community. And it's very difficult for one person to do on their own. It's very difficult. It's damaging. So until I move on and find myself around people who are in alignment with that same thinking, who are also leaders and also conscious beings and also have standards and boundaries and have come to awareness of certain things in their world, in their life, in their stories, I'm not really ever going to go anywhere. And on the same note as, oh, well, people will gravitate towards you, you'll manifest them, destiny will bring them to you, or you go out and you find those people. You put yourself in a situation where they are, or you stay where you are and you shift your own internal story and you open up to the people that are around you and you get to know them and find out whether beneath the exterior that you originally believed them to be, there is a fellow in there, there is a peer, there is a comrade, there is a friend, or somebody else that you can work with on that level. I sometimes really hate being a strong person. I find it traumatic, and I envy stupid, weak people. And I know that sounds horrible, but I do, because I think, okay, well, life might not be perfect for them, but their worries aren't on the same level as what mine are, and it makes me an envious person, and I don't think that's a very nice place to be in. Similarly, I also am aware that what has got them to where they are decisions that aren't in alignment with who I am. I don't want to be in a relationship with someone that is abusive towards me in order for me to secure a nice and happy home. I don't want to feel pressured into having sexual or intimate relationships with a partner because my living situation is dependent on it. I don't want to go to work every day and hate the people that are abusing me in that hierarchical dynamic because I need to pay bills and I've got responsibilities. I am aware that different people sacrifice different things, and that's where our individual personal principle comes into play. So it's strange because I've felt empowered as a traveller, and I've felt empowered as a person who has their own home, and I'm actually quite privileged to understand both sides of that dynamic. Don't know where I've put my hair bobbles. Like, it's all well and good going on about how privileged I am in a first world country where we've got free healthcare and water from a tap, and it's all well and good saying those things. But, like, what is evolution? Like, and what do we evolve in alignment with? And, yeah, okay, we've got technological advancements, and a lot of people believe that is evolution, which, okay, I suppose it is in a way, but for me, it always comes back to being in love, having a partner, a romantic partner, having a lover, having friendships, and having children in my life. And we are taught that in order to have those things or to get those things or to be conducive for those to become a reality in our world, that we have to have a fixed address, we have to have a home, we have to have a mortgage or a flat or we have to have those things. So that's what I intended to do. I intended to get the flat to build the life that I wanted, because you've got to start from the bottom up. It just isn't the way the world works. A lot of people only get those things because they've already got a family. Oh, well, we can't have the kids on the street, so we'll house you. But if you're a single person who wants to prepare before they bring life into this world, well, you'll just have to wait a little bit longer then, won't you? And I just think I can't quite wrap my head around that. Like, I do think if I'd have had children or given birth or whatever at a different age in my life, it would be like quite interesting to me how I can't even imagine it. I literally can't imagine it. I can only imagine that going forward. And it's like, oh, you're in a state of fear and you're becoming aggressive and hostile and blah blah blah. It's like, fucking hell, do you have anything better to do than analyse like my emotional state right now? There is no physical threat around me, I'm aware of that, but I'm also aware that if I want to leave this place, it's up to me. Like, I have to pack, I have to let go of things, I have to organise myself so that decision becomes a reality. And that's where I'm at. And I feel like it's what I'm to do. Like, that's what I'm to do. It just feels like a natural ending to my time here.